for watching our videos. If you're listening to just the audio, head over to our website. We have the latest videos up every time. The one you're looking for is not there. Just head over to our YouTube page. That's where it'll be at. Don't forget, sign up for our newsletter. You get 10% off. You get exclusive weekly content and first chance at giveaways. And sometimes we might just give away stuff for free. Don't forget to follow us on social media for some good times too. Hope you enjoy. Live, live, love.
Bitches.
Cool, guys. Hey, welcome back. Week 2. Dos. Boom. So, last we were talking about track and food and trying to find that best fit line to where we were going, either up, down, or staying even.
Yes.
Excuse me. This week we're talking about preparation
Food prep.
and not preparation or preparation H.
Ooh. That is. So,
Because preparation A through.
stop it.
Sorry.
Stop
Austin.
with the Austin Powers.
Sorry. It just came to mind. Yep. So often enough, I mean, you hear the. Yeah. Ass cream.
You just name it Operation Ass Cream, yes.
All right, back to the important thing. So, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Okay, which basically means this week we're talking about food prepping, which is easy enough.
Yep.
You want to keep it simple, so we're going to talk about the meal deal, and we're not talking about McDonald's or anything else that offers things like that. I feel like some place offered a meal deal.
The $5 meal deal.
That might have been it.
I don't know, it sounds familiar.
Sounds awful though. All right,
Probably like $100.
name something you would prepare ahead of time.
Chicken.
Yes. So protein sources are awesome to prepare ahead of time, which is what I often do. You can prepare them in bulk and store them for decent periods of time, which basically means if I'm planning to prepare food,
Right.
how long should I plan on having that food? Like if I'm preparing, like what length of time should I plan to have this food last?
Are we just talking about protein sources? Like
Any of them.
3 days, probably be pushing it 3-4 days.
Usually, yeah. Proteins and some of your carb sources you can get away with like a week.
I was gonna say a week, but
Like 3 to 6 days.
I mean, if you really need to prep a week in advance,
You can. Yeah, it's
You
something
can.
that's totally possible.
Like, you can take like a Sunday and prep for the entire week.
Which is usually what I do. I try to do for proteins and carb sources, especially if I'm doing like rice. Rice takes a little bit longer. Like it takes like 45 minutes for a brown rice. So I have to plan a little bit more for that. But when it comes to like a pasta, it's like 10 minutes really.
Right.
So it's something that I can do in batches where I can have last a few days, which I usually do with pasta. I don't want it to last as long. Okay, but like my rices, my starches. I mean, even if I do potatoes, I mean, it might take a little bit longer, but you don't have to watch them as much, so they're easier to do
I like
every
sweet potatoes.
3 or 4 days.
I'll cook a bunch
Yeah.
of sweet potatoes in advance, like
Yeah.
bake them. And then
Yeah, but you can let those, I mean, if you go 3 to 4 days with them,
Yeah.
it's something that's easy enough where if I needed to do them again, I could be doing other things. Like if I needed to get some work done, I could throw some in the oven.
Right. Throw some in the oven.
Mhm.
Come back an hour later.
Yeah, and just have the timer go off. And go, all right, and you just need to pull them out, let them cool, and then I just need to put them in a storage container.
Exactly.
So the actual hands-on time is like maybe 5 minutes. The cook time is, 45 minutes.
Right.
But during that 45 minutes of cook time, I don't really have to do anything
No.
besides listen for an alarm,
Exactly.
which is hopefully the timer and not your smoke alarm.
Means you cooked it too long.
Yeah, it's cooking with Josh and not with me.
I mean,
Yes, that's why we don't have you cook over here. Exactly. Okay. Then with the carb sources, I can do pretty much the same thing. Rice in a slow cooker is actually not a bad idea. Okay.
anything in a slow cooker is not a bad idea.
Touche. Good, sir. Okay.
Listen. So,
Veggies. That's the big thing. People get sketchy about veggies. Okay. There's certain ones you can do a little bit longer. Okay. So like raw onion and bell pepper. Okay. Like peppers and onions, basically, if you're doing them raw, which I like to do. I like to get,
yeah,
you know,
always eat my peppers raw.
I like 2 or 3 onions, a few bell peppers, and maybe a couple smaller peppers.
And
delicious. You could eat it like an apple. Okay. Well, what I like to do is I like to take those. I like to dice them up, which means small bits. I like to cut them up into small pieces. Okay. Put them in a storage container. Okay. That way, when I go to put my meals together for the next day, all I have to do is take a measuring cup, scoop them out really easy, plop them into the container for the meal for the day. Good to go.
Yep.
I'll just have them in the microwave with the food if I'm going to heat them up, or if I toss them onto some greens and just have it raw as a salad, which I like to have those raw anyways. It's easy enough, okay? And usually, those few will last me maybe 3 days or so. And then I grab some more from the store, so it takes me a few minutes just to dice up some of my veggies
So
that I can easily throw into other things.
essentially, what you're saying is veggies is like a 2-day purchase.
Usually you will have to do at least a couple times a week for your fresh veggies.
So you just have to plan a little bit more for your veggies than you do for your protein.
Yes.
Essentially. Yep.
Because they will spoil quicker.
Correct.
hmm
Perishable.
Yep. Perishable foods. Until they aren't.
Are good foods.
Yes.
Those
It's
are-
good if your food will only last for a few days.
Yes, if it has a shelf life of 6 years, it's probably not.
Yeah, because even peanuts don't have that long of a shelf life.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
So-
like even tuna, canned tuna,
Really? In water or oil?
either or. I think it's like
I know.
a max
Either way, I
of
would not
50
want
years or
that.
something. Yeah, but I would not open a can of tuna like 6 years later.
Like our 15-year-old male can up
We won't
north?
talk about that.
Okay, we won't talk about that. So, veggies are definitely multiple times a week you'll have to do, but usually they're pretty simple to prepare. So, there's something that can be done short and quickly. I definitely do that for like onions and peppers to do raw. I just dice them up and put them into storage container, and that way I can just kind of easily scoop them, put them into the food container for the day, and be on my way. Same thing with my rice and my pasta. Again, it's in a large container. So I have these larger containers in my fridge. Therefore, I pull those out. When it comes to prepping, I can prep my food before I leave for work and have my 4 to 5 meals set out, because it takes me 5 minutes to put them together, because all I have to do is weigh my protein source, measure out either my pasta or my rice, and then measure out my veggies, and then go from there.
Done.
Easy enough.
Yep.
So proteins and carbs you can do for closer to a week. Okay. Veggies are definitely a few days because they're perishable. Same thing like lettuce and spinach. Usually you're a couple days with those.
Yeah.
You got to be careful on those.
Yeah. Yeah. Those.
And everybody knows. They're like, oh, so
it's-
we buy them in smaller portions. That way I can plan to use them.
Right. Exactly. You don't buy a week's worth.
No.
Yeah. You don't. You don't do that.
No.
But I mean, yeah, you just got to be conscientious when
Yeah.
you're shopping. The way you can look at it is, or what I like to do is I like to meal prep on Sundays.
Yep.
So Sundays I'll meal prep because I'm cooking anyway for my family. So what I'll do is I'll meal prep on Sundays, and I'll make Monday through Fridays meals. Saturdays, cook at home anyway.
You know, say free game on a Saturday.
Yeah, free game on
If
Saturday.
you're already out and about or anything like that.
So Monday through Friday, I'll have those meals prepped, which I usually only prep lunch and dinner. I mean, dinner's even kind of iffy, but lunch for sure. Dinner possibly. Roughly 2 meals a day for Monday through Friday. Breakfast I eat fresh every day. Yeah, and then the weekend's fair game. But you get that all done on Sunday, and then it's all set for the week.
Basically, I spend a couple hours on Sunday.
Yeah.
I will cook protein sources. So one that I can also do, like if I need to, because I'll buy like a couple like 3-pound bags of like ground turkey.
Right.
Okay. 3-pound one will last me a few days. But of course, I'm going to have to get at least 2 of those per week.
Right.
So if I don't have time, like sometimes I'll just do one package on a Sunday, and then I have the other package to do later in the week. That cooks pretty quick compared to some other sources.
Yeah, it does.
So it's something that I can do if I need to later in the day. I can do really quick as I'm kind of winding down, because food, I mean, is pretty relaxing for me. So I like to cook to chill out. But usually I try to cook my protein source and some pasta if I'm gonna have pasta in the week, and a bit of rice, because those, like a jasmine rice is my favorite source.
So much better.
Yeah, and I keep them pretty consistent. So I have those in larger containers, and then I have some cut up veggies that I can easily scoop and throw. And then I'll try to the night before prep my meals. That way they're just in the fridge and I can grab and go. But with my schedule, I don't have to be to work until 10. I'm usually up a little after 7 to get stuff going and take the dog out and that and so forth. So I spend an extra 10 minutes real quickly throwing my food together, and I put together at least 4 or 5 meals because I'm gone at least 10 hours.
Yeah, right.
Because I have an 8-hour workday, I have a 45-minute commute, and I have a workout. So I'm usually gone 10 to 11 hours throughout the day.
Right.
So it's longer days for me. So I have most of my meals prepped. I have my supplements that are easy enough to measure and toss into a shaker bottle, and I can add water as I need to. But so some people like to keep things pretty consistent, and I prefer to keep things pretty consistent, especially because it makes it easier when I have to prep. So how would I change that up each week, though? How could I add some variation? Spice things up a little.
I was gonna say you could. I mean, you could prep. I mean, you could prep multiple things, or
Yep.
you could, you could add different degrees of spice, like you were saying. You could use.
Yep. So a popular one is either to
flavored
change up.
oils as opposed to regular oils. I mean,
Yep.
there's an abundance of things you can do. I
It's
mean,
the little things. So it's
Exactly.
either I change
And-
up my protein source or my carb source. That's the primary one. So I add in some sweet potatoes or regular potatoes, or I switch out pasta for rice.
well, one of the
Or I
things-
switch out like chicken to turkey, or I add in some beef or this and that. But the biggest one is usually just changing up the spices, and not like a subtle change, like change from like fresh basil and parsley, which is going to be more of an herb style, to something maybe a little bit spicier, a little smokier. So changing up kind of the palette essentially of the seasonings that you have. So not just like, oh, I use like garlic this time, I'll use onion this time. Like those are right in line with each other, and they tend to just kind of keep you dulled. So I mean, it doesn't mean you have to like, oh my god, I have to buy all these fresh spices and this and that and figure out what goes together. No, just, I mean, you can go to the store and you can find some spice blends. They've got ones that are like Asian and like barbecue and this and that.
and a good reference, 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss.
There you go.
It's a good reference because what he does is give you a good breakdown of what foods go together and what foods don't go together. So that way, when you're cooking, it's not necessarily a giant cookbook. It's not like well, here's how you make this meal. Because that's what I used to do when meal prepping and stuff like that. You know, in cooking, and you look at.
You were trying to do recipes for.
Well, you try to do recipes, and you're like, man, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and spend like $300 a week on this stuff because
Mhm.
I have to buy each one of these items. But instead, he breaks it down so that you can look at it and you can say, well, what do I have? What goes together with what I've got to make something different
Yeah.
or something better? Or maybe I can mix this up by doing this. It's just a really good reference, and it's a really good read. All of his books are a really good read, but it's a good thing to do because I always made the mistake, first on trying to meal prep, which it was always hit or miss as to whether or not I fell through. But halfway through the week, I just wouldn't be able to eat the prep food anymore because I would either cook too much of one type of protein. So it was like on Sunday, I was like 60 pounds of chicken, like just chicken, the entire week.
gets
of
boring.
Just chicken and rice, with the same spice because you cooked it all at one time, and you're just like, mother, no.
Yep.
Like I just can't do it anymore.
Mhm.
I'm crashing. Like it's just not gonna happen. So you end up, wasting half your week's worth of food. It ends up tasting bad throughout the week, but it's not necessarily because it's bad. It's just that you're just done. You're over it. Your
It's the
palate's
same flavor over
spent.
time.
You just, So
You need to
So you
refresh.
got to think about that when you're prepping food too. So if you're gonna do all on one day for the week, make sure you mix up your food. Not just your protein types, but just say, okay, well, the first couple of days I'm going to use a lot of this green or a lot of that green or a lot of sweet potatoes.
Switching
or
up those
maybe
veggies is a nice way
lot
to do
of
it.
Broccoli or something like that. I mean, you definitely want to keep it in balance, but make sure that you're thinking about spicing it up. So you're not just like, okay, I'm a food prep. I'm going to throw in 30 pounds of chicken for the week. I'll be
Yep.
set. Like it's
Because
just,
if I do that,
it's just not gonna
you know,
happen.
because I've done it too, to where I've cooked the 2 different batches of turkey at the same time.
Right.
Like I've done it at the same time, and it's the same flavor. Or most of the time, what I'll do is I'll do one first, especially because the pan usually only fits one,
Right.
so it's easier just to not overfill it. I do one, do a flavor profile to that. Then when I do batch number 2, I change that flavor profile. So I have the same protein source, I bought the same
Yeah.
this and that, but it's easy enough just to change which spices I grabbed, so that way. And sometimes I'll mix it together, or I'll leave it kind of separated, and that way when I just grab it, it basically will surprise my palate when I go to eat it. So it's one of
definitely
those
the difference.
where I don't have the plan.
Yeah, it
And
makes
it's
a
easy enough, like
difference.
rice, spicing up rice. Like,
Well-
all right, instead of just leaving it in water, okay, you can get like chicken broth or beef broth,
Yep.
cooking it in that. Okay, make sure you're watching the sodium levels on that. Okay, and then I can throw some spices into that, throwing in like parsley or basil, some oregano,
Right.
throwing in some garlic salt.
Because you just got to be honest with yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
and pick something that you like the flavor of, but adding those dry spices to things is easy enough to wake up your palate and keep things fresh. Because even if you don't flavor that one, maybe when you go to mix it one day and you go to prep your food, sprinkle a little bit of that on that for that day. Therefore, changes what I'm tasting that day, and the next day I choose different ones
Right.
based on what I'm feeling.
Yeah, and like I said, you just got to be honest with yourself. You just got to be honest to say there's no way that I'm gonna eat chicken and rice for 5 days straight for 2 meals a day.
Yeah, I mean, I eat
But you just,
ground turkey and brown rice a lot of my meals, and I eat multiple meals throughout the day. Okay, but I mean, as much as I may like to keep things consistent because I like that, with being mildly OCD at times. Okay, and I like having consistency because I know what's coming, and therefore it makes me feel a little bit calmer. But even I can't do that like all the time. Like, I need some change because it just
Right.
drives me wild.
I mean,
Tasting the
it's
same
like-
thing because you go numb essentially in your mouth.
Exactly.
So I change with the spices, and therefore make things a little more interesting.
Right. Hello.
Yonder.
All right. I think that about wraps it up. Though.
Pretty simple. I
Good
mean,
intro on food prep.
yeah. I mean, just don't overcomplicate it. I mean,
Be honest. Don't overcomplicate it.
look at it like a puzzle.
And be committed.
Make the big pieces, and then
And
just
it gets better over time.
and
It
just
does. It's like
piece 'em together.
It's going over the gym.
Mhm.
You know.
yeah. But just break it down into pieces, and therefore kind of put them together as you feel throughout the day, and it'll be easier than you think it is. And don't think too much into it, guys. Rolling?